Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode on understanding the shamanic culture and understanding what role shamans can play in our society. Hello everyone, today we're talking about shamanism, the old witch doctors of the past, the healers, the spiritual healers, something that we've definitely lost in our communities and now only exist in a few small tribes around the world. So as always, to begin the subject, begin with a quote, and that quote is, "Symbols are miracles we have recorded into language." Kelly Harrell. Symbols are really important. There is religious symbols like the yin-yang symbol or the crucifix. We also have brand symbols, which might be the Toyota logo or the Nike tick. And what these symbols are is they're identifiers to a concept. Now, before there were brands and before we had symbols for everything, there were some sacred symbols. Symbols that would remind us about life. The yin-yang symbol would continuously remind us about the dark and light forces of nature and the balancing of the two, and would allow us to reconnect instantly into that world. Language fails us a lot, and it has over a long time, and it's very difficult even talking about some of these subjects because they belong in here, not through the short vibrations of your throat and tongue to create sound vibrations. They're much more complex than that. So what is shamanism? Shamanism is a practice that involves the practitioner reaching altered states of consciousness in order to perceive and interact with the spirit world and channel these transcendental energies into the world. Sounds sort of crazy, right? What shaman is to me, and I've seen this manifest, and I've seen its popularity, and I've seen it work, is that ultimately a lot of doctors agree that the healing belongs within the doctor and the belief of the individual into the doctor. So quite often what shamans do is they take the belief of the individual, combine it with their belief and their understanding of the spirit world, and they really do heal. I want to go through some of the ways they heal and some of the understandings of how they can be really important to our lives, even in the modern age. So, number one, all sickness involves the brain. All sickness involves the brain. More and more doctors are now openly saying this, and it's getting to the point where it is now sort of mundane. Your brain, the biochemistry of the mind and the way the brain works, will trigger the way your body reacts to defenses, the way your immune system operates. Multiple things in your body, and all disease and all things that happen in your body ultimately come through the mind-body structure. Now, if this is true, we've been dealing with disease the wrong way. We haven't been dealing with the mind. Shamanism is all about the mind. It's about understanding what's going on in the mind and what can be released from the mind in order to heal the disease. Yes, shamans don't have chemotherapy treatment, but what they do have is they have a direct link to the mind that is creating the circumstances for the cancer to grow or the immune system that may fight it. So that's what the world they deal in with. Number two, epigenetics and shamanism. So epigenetics is something we've talked about in this series. It's a massive breakthrough in science. And what it is how your environment can turn on and off genes. We all have genes to create basically any life that we desire. The coding of the human genes, there's lots of genes that never get used, never get turned on, never get turned off. And what epigenetics has shown science is that the way you think and the way you see the world and the environment you create for yourself will turn off and on genes. And what shamans do is they work in this world. They clear your head of mental clutter. They help you see the world differently. They help you live more naturally. And therefore, a lot of the triggers, all of the genes that turn on to create all these diseases never get a chance to fire, or they're turned off by your ability to connect back to your true self. Number three, the placebo effect. Now, this placebo effect has been documented for hundreds of years now, and the reality is that when you tell someone that a drug or an operation will do something, there's a large portion of those individuals who will experience the benefits even if you don't give them the drug or the therapy. The example being, when I had problems with my knee playing basketball, I looked into all sorts of different therapies, and there was a lot of talk about how knee therapy, especially tendon knee therapy, there wasn't a lot that you could do about it. But there was a study that showed that knee operations, a certain type of knee operation to do with the tendon, was very, very effective. And then they did that study where they took the patients in, told them how effective the knee surgery was going to be, made a small incision in the knee, but didn't actually perform the surgery, and those patients recovered at the same rate as the patients who had the surgery, because they simply believed, and the mechanism, the healing response within the knee began just as they had had the surgery. trust and faith. When you trust and have faith, the universe has an incredible way of conspiring to make things okay. And one of the things that shamans have done for a long time is tell you that it's going to be okay, tell you that you should have faith because your spirit animal or your spirit guide or whatever energies they're connecting with their transcendental state are going to help you out. And that can be all that someone needs to get back on track. Psychedelics. So there is a psychedelic nature to most shamanism. That is taking something from the natural world and allowing you to see the world more appropriately. Remember, we barely see 2% of visible light. To dogs, rainbows don't exist. If dogs could talk and you said that there was a rainbow up there, they would think you were nuts seeing colours and spirits in the skies because they don't have the cones in their eyes to see that. So when we take psychedelics, we open up our field of vision, both internally and externally, and see things that are important to us. This can be incredibly liberating for not only the person involved in the shamanic ritual, but for the shaman to grow and to learn more about the individual. Cures, not treatments. Shamanism isn't super popular these days because it deals in cures, not treatments. Shamans aren't about getting you to, come back for 25 visits. They're not about prolonging the disease. They are about getting to the root cause of your true self to eliminate the disease, and they work in cures. Now, that's not a profitable business model, as cancer medication, for example, has found. Most companies make money in the treatment, not in cures. Second to last, shamans use nature. They understand that we are not disconnected from our environment. The things that scientists are now finally starting to observe about how nature around us can make us less stressed, less prone to disease, more healthy, more vibrant, and live longer, shamans have known for a long time. There's an ancient Aboriginal shaman tradition where in order for certain diseases to be healed, you needed to lay on the ground with no clothes on and allow the earth to heal you and the sun to heal you. And it's interesting that quite often those diseases were a lack of vitamin D, which was then created by the sunlight of those individuals lying down. So as crazy as it sounds, using nature to heal you, shamans have been successful in doing it. And finally, taking time out with a guide who ignores your ego and looks at your true self can be so liberating from just an overall wellness perspective. Every day we have people who look at us superficially. They look at who we are, how much money we make, what we look like, our age. And shamans are all about looking straight through that into your soul and getting you to reconnect and identify your soul. We don't have enough of that. Shamans are incredible. Before you go, forget it, thinking the witch doctors in the old movies and stuff were just crazy. There is a resurgence of shamanism. If you're looking to get more research, definitely look at ayahuasca shamanism, which is part of the Amazon basin shamanic tradition, where they use ayahuasca to break through post-traumatic stress disorder and all sorts of diseases. It's something to think about. Really cool to talk about these ancient cultures, and I can't wait to see you till tomorrow. Goodbye.